Tell me, Michael, I mean, why did you write this book about democracy? And would you ever run for office? I know I saw recently you got jury duty, so you can vote now, which is a big deal, right? Because as a convicted criminal, that's not always given, but you have that, right?
Yeah, I've gained that authority back now. I can vote. I am a good citizen. It's been 25 years since I had any trouble. But Brian, I had a group that was trying to get me to run for a mayor in Las Vegas. And, and you know what? You almost feel a responsibility to do things. But I said, with my background, these people are going to drag it. They'll make it seem like whatever I did 30 years ago happened yesterday, Right. So why do that? But, I'll tell you a quick story on the book. After I wrote my business book, this was 6 years ago, my publisher came to me and they said, we want you to do a political book. And I said, well, I'm really interested in politics. I really, because I'm concerned about, my country and my children and my grandchildren more than myself. What is our country going to look like in 10, 15 years?
Yeah.
So, but then I started writing the book, Brian. And I called it a mafia democracy, trying to show the analogy, the Machiavellian system, the way it's being instituted here in the States. And I said to myself, you know what do I need this for? These people are going to get upset with me. They're going to come after me. I lead a nice, quiet life now. And I went to my publisher. I gave him back my advance. And I said, I'm not writing the book. I don't need it.
Wow.
That was 5 years ago. And in the last 7 months, I said, you know what? That's wrong. I have a responsibility. I want people to understand what's going on in America, and I want them to hold their politicians accountable. That's it. Don't allow them to lie. Don't allow the backdoor deals. Don't allow them to do all of these things that affect you, your livelihood, your family, your way of life. So I felt an obligation, and I went back and I said, I'm writing a book. And people are going to be, again, what's the goal? The goal is to open people's eyes, to make them understand. And I don't think there's a better time here and where you are to let people understand. They see what's going on. And I think if they hear it enough, Brian, and you're a likable guy and you're going to do what you say you're going to do, I think that you may surprise a lot of people come May 6th. I mean it.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Michael. And you're right. I mean, when I think about my children and my grandchildren, and again, like what's left when we're gone? What's left is, did you do something important? Were you of service? Did you make the world a little bit of a place? And, I know what I like about you, Michael, is that you tell the stories from the mafia, but they always end with a lesson. That's what makes you different, I think, than so many people. It always ends with and guess what? This is not the thing to do. If you go down this road, it ends in tears, it ends in death, it ends in poverty, it ends in jail, or you can choose to do something correct and something that's in the interest of a lot of people, and it is the right thing. And I think that's a powerful message for people. And I agree. I think in the last year, with all the craziness we saw and the lockdown, we saw for a second maybe the way things really are briefly. And this is the time to get people to notice it and hold them to task and hold them accountable. And if people don't take action, though, it probably could get worse from here. And as things go more digital and that becomes out of control, it gets a little bit trickier. And so we could be in some tough situations. So I'm glad you decided to write the book. You have to be a little altruistic to do these things, I think.
Yeah, my wife said, you sure you want to do this? And I said, I feel an obligation. Sometimes you just can't sit on the sidelines, you just can't. And, I'll be 70 years old this year. What do I got to worry about, Brian, right? I live my life and, I'm going to try to make that contribution. But, you're right there. I tell people, I lived that lifestyle and, I had some success, but it's a dead end street. And, I've seen too many people go down that road and just families collapse, their lives collapse. I go into prisons all the time. I speak to guys, this is what's so sad. They're 45, 50 years old. They've done 10, 15 years in prison, lost their families. And they look at me and they say, Mike, where do I go from here? I get out in 3 years. I'm going to be 55 years old. What they don't realize is when you do these things, you put so much baggage on your back to carry around. And Brian, life is tough enough when everything was good. We had a pandemic last year that came out of nowhere. Good people got hurt so bad in this country, and I'm sure they're all over the world. You don't know what's going to happen in life. And when you make wrong choices and the consequences could be so severe, you got to do the right thing in life, you know? And we need good leaders. We need good leaders. You know, here in the United States, we're so divisive now in this country. And people say to me, Michael, why? I said, very simple. It starts from the top. When we see these people arguing, calling each other names, getting down in the gutter, it starts from the top. They set the tone. And then it goes down and it trickles into to society. And that's what happened here in the United States. Every fault that's going on here in this country, and I'm sure it's from the angry and divisive rhetoric that starts at the top.